All right, cool. We are hot.
Are we?
Yeah, of course.
Sweet.
All right, this is our first take. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first ever Fireside Chat with the Bear Bard. This is where I sit down with RPG people and we cover topics from all over the RPG space. Today, we're joined by a personal friend of mine who goes by Wolfgang95. Why don't you introduce yourself, Wolf?
Well, as you said, I'm Wolfgang95. At least that's my internet moniker. I have a sweet YouTube channel with a whole 75 subscribers, and only one of them is my mother. I've known the Bear Bard for a while now, and we talk TTT, mostly D&D, but other tabletop RPGs quite a bit, and along with other things. Not really sure where else to go with the introduction.
It really is. I appreciate having you here. If you guys don't know, like he said, he does have a channel. It right now it's got some fun clips on there, but he will be coming out with more content in the future. So make sure you go check out that channel. Maybe give it a sub. See what comes out later.
Finally break into some D&D content for once.
A little bit of D&D content, trying to get that going. I got you. I'm stoked to have you on this first episode. To get this going. So what is? Let's just set up for the listener. Yeah. What is your experience with TTRPGs?
My experience, I've been playing TTRPGs for about 5 years, I want to say. Initially started with a Pathfinder campaign I was invited into, and then we transitioned to 5th edition. And lately I've been dabbling with Merkborg, while also running Baldur's Gate, Descent into Avernus for a few of my friends.
Awesome. So obviously you have some D&D DMing experience.
Yeah,
and yes, I said DM for this because it's D&D.
DM, GM, exchangeable. You just call me a master, sure.
I am the master.
I am just the M. I've been GMing technically for almost 2 years. I started February 2020, just before the pandemic. I finally GM'd my first one shot and then transitioned into doing a campaign or two.
Awesome. So is there any game? So you said you played Pathfinder, you've played Morkborg and D&D 5th edition. Is there any other games that you're wanting to try playing? Is there anything you've been looking at?
I really want to try Pathfinder again now that I'm more, I guess, experienced as a player. I really want to try playing it. Being the first RPG I jumped into, tabletop RPG, a lot of the players, including myself, we didn't buy books. And so we didn't really learn how to play properly. So I really want to try that again. I also really want to try Pathfinder 2nd edition because that just seems neat. Or just any kind of maybe more of a modern setting, something out of the fantasy kind of genre would be great.
I got you. Yeah. If you ever want to piss off Pathfinder fans, just go into a forum and say Pathfinder whatever edition is better. If you say 1st edition, you piss off all the 2nd edition people. Say 2nd edition, piss off all the 1st edition people.
Is Pathfinder 2nd edition actually popular? I never see books anymore in stores. So I don't know if they're being sold out or not being published.
What I've seen, again, not as someone who hasn't played Pathfinder, I want to, and Starfinder.
I want to check out Starfinder. I think that'd be fun.
Well, I found out they have a race of bears. They're called the Uplifted. They're bears. They've just been uplifted and given sentience.
Oh my God.
And they even have a bard equivalent class.
Okay.
And so I'm gonna make Sci-Fi Bear Bard.
Sci-Fi Bear Bard. You gotta have those wraparound sunglasses, the one lens.
Yes, the Geordie LaForge.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'd be perfect. I know I want to try it, but yeah, that's the thing that they're very passionate about. I've always seen, I've seen a couple other creators and stuff like that. They're very 1st edition, 2nd edition. The 1st edition seemed to be more hardcore. Because it was made to be basically 3.5 D&D.
Yeah, it's pretty nitty gritty, I'd say. But it was neat, But as a new player, it was kind of there's a lot going on here, and I haven't actually read the rules. I'm just being told. I should have bought my own book, and I just never did.
Yeah. I know 3.5 was pretty crunchy, and so I think that's where Pathfinder's 1st edition is still crunchy, but I think 2nd edition they lightened it up a little bit. From what again, this is third party, so I could be totally wrong.
Their character creation seems pretty crunchy to me. I feel like I would need an app to keep track of things, or at least help me make a character quicker.
Yeah,
but I mean, I like how I guess specialized the character creation seems to be for 2nd edition.
See, that's the nice thing about D&D is we have so many resources like D&D Beyond and stuff like that help us create characters, where some of these other smaller games, I'm not calling that one small by any means, but You know,
Well, I mean,
sometimes other
compared to
games.
5th edition in America, it's kind of.
Yeah.
But no,
not even-
it's big in the space.
Yeah, exactly. So each podcast we let the guest choose the main topic. It can be literally anything from the space on a micro or macro level. Today we're talking about our experience as newer DMs and things that we wish we knew. I myself have actually also a newer DM, so I've only been DMing for about a year. I did a couple one shots of like 3.5 back in the day, but it was very like haphazard. I didn't even own the book, so it was just kind of like I just made up a story and then we kind of went with it. And just like, yeah,
give me a
roll
me a die. That seems good enough.
You know, hey, that looks like a good roll. We're gonna call it. But yeah, because especially again, 3.5 was crunchy, so it was hard to just kind of come in. But yeah, that's really my experience. And so, yeah, we just kind of wanted to kind of go over our kind of what we've seen, our impressions, our struggles, things that we wish we knew. So as a newer DM, what is that? That first, let's take us through that first time you DM'd. What was that like for you the first time that you said, okay, I'll be DM?
Yeah. I was pretty nervous. I actually ran for a group of people I had never played D&D with before. Instead of playing with my core group, I got a few friends together online. 2 of them were pretty new to RPGs, and one guy I kind of knew was pretty experienced. It was a lot of fun. I guess my biggest thing I had to handle before actually running the game was making an encounter that would actually fit like a one-shot. Because running a one-shot is the best way to start. If you jump into a campaign, you might overwhelm yourself. A one-shot's pretty low stakes. And it lets your players kind of like, they can experiment, you can experiment. If things don't go the way they're planned, no one's hurt because there's not this big, long, arcing thing going on. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was just simple, like, bandits stole some valued items from like the king's, I guess, treasure room. Like, it's been a few years, so it's hard to remember. A couple of years. So they had to go basically find the bandits. I started them off like near the cave where the bandits were. They had to go in there, fight them, and then there was like a secret evil dungeon in the back that I had made, which kind of made things more than one shot. I made it into a 2-shot, but they had a lot of fun. I can go in more on that if you want, or we can.
Yeah, whatever you want to do. Yeah. It's that's the hard part with one shots in general. Is like, I feel like every time, at least personally, like whenever I'm trying to make a one shot, I'm like, yeah, this is a great one shot, but what's their motivation? Yeah. What's this? Well, how about this? And then so it like
it balloons.
Yeah, well, my one shot just became a new campaign. That's cool. So.
Yeah, exactly. My initial plan for that one shot was that they'd get the job and then they'd have to do tracking to find the cave. Find the cave where the bandits are, get in, fight the bandits to get the treasure, and then deal with the dungeon. And cutting it to just them, I think it was smart just to cut them to being at the cave. You tell them they've accepted the job, they already met each other. I mean, have to introduce their characters at the table, but they already met each other, and they're like, I don't know, an hour or like a half hour's travel from the cave. So they can have a little role play in the woods, and then you intro the location once they get there, and then they kind of move from there. But yeah, pacing is hard, and I think one shots really help you learn pacing somewhat. Being a GM is always a learning experience, and you just kind of run one shots until you feel you're ready to take on campaign. I'll also say that out of all the one shots I've ever run, I think that's been like more than 6. Only 2 of them have actually ended being a one shot that actually like concluded. One was for 5th edition, which was I had them have to like fight bandits on a boat. There was like a docked ship, and they had to go in there to like retrieve some items that were stolen from a shipping company. So they were like some bad port town, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And they ended up finding like a trapped prince in there, and we ended up making that into a campaign. But they finished the one shot there, and then my other one was I ran the Merkborg built-in adventure, which took like 5-6 hours to do, but we did technically do it in one shot.
It was a long day. Although I talked to people, and it was like, oh yeah, we went for our normal 8-hour gaming session. It's just like, oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
I said, I'm a dad. I can't do the 8 hours anymore.
I mean, that's the hard part. You got to find where to fit it in if you're busy.
Yeah.
Because an 8-hour session is cool if you can muster the time and the energy.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah, that's the hard part. And then, you just other people, their commitments. So
yeah.
I know I have trouble committing to my 4 hours a week.
Yeah.
to do that late at night. No, I know that's my first. The first game I DM'd again was a 3.5, but it was very like it was a one shot, but I just made it up. It was basically we were doing these little one shots at my buddy's house. It was like he was there, then he had some roommates that played D&D, and so like we'd all get together. There was just a bunch of people, and I'm just like, I'm like, these are kind of fun stories to tell. So I just made it up off the cuff. I did nothing. I'm just like, I'll do one, and everyone's like, they're like, okay, cool. So I had like 3 people, and so it was just like these guys were going through this town. They were given a quest, and then they had to go stop this evil wizard.
Yeah.
So they get out to the forest, and they had to fight some goblins, and then they go into this cave, and then in the cave, the wizard is just too powerful. I just basically made them lose, which again, I knew nothing, so I didn't even do it like fairly. I just like, he's like, I'm like, okay, he uses a spell and throws, and you're pinned against the wall. Yeah. He's like, well, I try to fight it. I'm like, you can't. He's like, what if I try really hard? I'm like, okay, roll. No, you failed. Like,
oh yeah. I mean, I think that's why you do the one shot. Is like, it can be, if your players get frustrated, like, that's a learning experience, but like, it won't be this big buildup. They made this character knowing that the character probably only be used once, and so if their feelings, people get invested in their characters, and so doing a one shot doesn't give you the time to get invested in the character,
unless it's a character you've used a bunch of times. And you're like, but yeah, so they went through this thing. He monologued. They pass out, and then they woke up in the tavern they left that morning. Yeah, but it was like everything was dusty. And they go out, like the tavern's the only thing left. The town's been leveled. Okay, and it's been like destroyed for a long time. Yeah, and then I left it, and so I was originally I was going to turn it into a whole thing. Yeah, but then like my one buddy, he went into the Navy and then all this other stuff. So then. They work out, but no, the first time, then I didn't do anything DMing for a long time. Yeah,
you've been talking about actually wanting to kind of pick up that. Like, idea.
I'm writing a campaign that kind of takes up that same concept a little different, but well, I've had 11 years, 12 years since then to kind of like
think about
be better at storytelling. Oh, yeah. So it's not quite. I was like 12 years ago or something like that. Shh, I'm old at this point. Yeah, so then I started this DM campaign. I'm like, for 5th edition, I'm like, I'll do I tend to like homebrew everything. And
I think homebrewing honestly is always better. And that's from my experience. I'm gonna give you a little side tip here. Side tip. If you're new to GMing, do not run Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus. It has some cool ideas, but it is a poorly written campaign. Also, don't run Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden. That one also is kind of weirdly written. Make up your own stuff if you have the energy and the time. Or, I don't know, try to find something that's maybe simple to start with. If you're going to start a campaign, don't do what I did. But yeah, go ahead.
Wolfgang top tips of the day. Yeah, Wolfgang top tips of the day, if I could say that right.
Wolfgang95's top tip of the day. Do not run Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus unless you're willing to rewrite a lot of stuff. Because the campaign starts you in Baldur's Gate, and then you never return to Baldur's Gate, and they make Baldur's Gate very important and then not important at all. So
it's name recognition. Because they had the game. That's it. If they hadn't had the Baldur's Gate games, they never would have called it Baldur's Gate.
Also, the setting, the tone is like really inconsistent between them wanting to be like, oh, your players, it's scary. Oh no, there's devils everywhere, and you should feel this sense of hopelessness. And also like, hell yeah, you're in giant, war machines, and it's Mad Max. Isn't Mad Max cool? And you're ready to do a fetch quest for like 6 levels, because that's literally you send your players on a fetch quest from like levels like 7 to 11, something like that, and it's just that gets tiring for everyone.
I say it's a death metal side quest trying to be Dark Souls. Sometimes
I don't know, it's a cool setting and it has some cool ideas, but I think the least fun thing about it, besides there being a big fetch quest, is that there's no real like reoccurring like true villain. Like Zariel's like on the cover, but like she doesn't show up, and really like realistically, if she were to show up, she wouldn't take shit, and she would probably just kill the players if they were like really a nuisance. So yeah, it's got some cool ideas, but yeah, it's not. Don't do that one.
I know a lot of people say the not the intro pack, but the essential pack.
I hear really good things about the essentials pack.
Yeah, people are saying that's a really good. I actually picked up the essentials pack, and I've been meaning to do it, but I picked it up after I started because I'm running Waterdeep Dragon Heist. Yeah, and that one, it's actually been pretty fun. I've ended up just kind of rewriting a lot of it myself, or just kind of going off on my own thing. Like because I even ran one time.
There's a theme here. You'll do a lot of rewriting with the modules, but I think adding the personal flair really like makes it special for your players. And it also makes it a little easier for you as a GM to manage because you start being able to remember things because you made them up as opposed to having them in a book that you have to remember. But yeah.
But no, that's absolutely right. Yeah. And then it's just a better connection to it. You know, if you have a character, you know, so there's a side quest that we did.
Mm-hmm.
The guy is supposed to be this kind of just like generic, like hardened old paladin.
Yeah.
And instead of doing that, I turned him into this just insufferable prick.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just like, I'm out here doing good work, and I guess I'll let you help me, you know. But it's just like he's much more memorable, and then I can put more into that, you know, quote unquote performance because I care more about it, and then I'm there like, yes, you know,
this is me,
this big grand, you know, and then it's just more fun, you know. I turned, they have the Harpers. I have the leader of the Harpers. They're kind of like they're basically good spies.
Okay.
But I turned their leader basically into Colonel Sanders. And so he's the super spy, but he's just like, you know, because like you're supposed to meet him at a theater, and it's just kind of secret. Like you're sitting in the private booth, and so you get there, and he's this big dude, and he's kind of like being real secretive. He's like, your secret handshake, were you followed? Were you know, all this stuff. And then he just starts like, y'all should have seen y'all face, you know?
Okay. I was like, where's the Sanders come in?
I was saying, and he turned into he's just Colonel Sanders. And so he's just laughing. He showed up to breakfast one day when everyone woke up in there, because you get Troll's Gold Manor. You get this like little mansion bar thing. And so he just shows up one day and starts eating their bacon in the morning just to...
You know what make this bacon better? You put it in a bucket.
You put it in a bucket, you get that KFC chicken with 11 seasons.
You know, I got this thing I'm working on. I got this thing. It's called a pet project. You got these 11 herbs and spices, but I'm trying to find the correct ratio. Once they're done, it's gonna be finger licking good. I'll tell you what.
I need to trademark that finger licking good. Yeah, but no, my first. Oh my god, that first one. Because again, the one shot that I did was fine because I just made it up on the spot and the thing. But when I did this one. I was so nervous.
Yeah.
And I messed up so much. Like everything, because I over prepped. I prepped like hell. Like I literally spent, because it was on a Saturday, like during the week I did a bunch of stuff. And then that Saturday I started at 10 a.m. and we didn't start till like 9 p.m. And I just prepped.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I have a kid. So I have to break that up. But I prepped all day and I did all this prep. In the first couple sessions, I did so much prep, and I was like, I don't have enough. Oh my god, what am I gonna do?
Yeah,
because you know you still have to look things up. You can prep all you want, and you still are gonna have to look things up, and they're still gonna be, because they're not gonna do what they're not
gonna do what you plan, and you gotta. That's actually the thing. Learn to roll with what your players are doing. Like in a D&D game, in a tabletop RPG, it's important for the players and for you to have fun. But make sure as a GM you're a little disconnected from like how much you like are worried about the story going a particular way, because your players are you're gonna plan for A, B, and C, and your players are gonna do like W, and you just kind of have to roll with it, figure it out, and that should be the fun part too. Is like just it's hard, you know, if you're really excited about it, you can really fall into like over prepping. I over prep sometimes, and there's a lot of games where actually some of my best games are the ones where I do minimal prep, like just because I didn't have time or something, and it's just like, okay. One guy I was watching, his rule of thumb is like to only prep for like, I think it was like 2 hours for every hour of game or something like that. It was like, don't prep a lot, you know, or like limit your prepping. Like if you're prepping too much, you're just gonna like get in your head. The first session, so like for Baldur's Gate, I ran a session like 0.5, I'll call it. Yeah, in that Baldur's Gate Sin of Avernus, they have this really fun thing where your players share a dark secret, and you roll to see what the secret is, and you roll to see what their role is. And I kind of went through with my players, and they all kind of just chose what their secret was. Like we rolled, and then we were like, nah, and then we kind of like just slimmed it out. So I had a session 0.5 where I did a very like completely improv session of D&D where they basically played out what happened. Like I had no battle maps. I drew no maps. The only map I gave them was a map of the city. And I kind of we ran through it. It was all just like, you know, on the spot pretty much. Probably one of the best sessions of the campaign. Session 1, I was nervous. I prepped. I really was following the book to a T. Don't do that.
Especially with
Baldur's Gate, because it's horribly balanced. Horribly balanced. You're gonna if you run Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus as written and your players go along with it, you will have a whole new party by the time they're done with Baldur's Gate. But I ran the first session as written, and they were like, "What the hell is this?" Basically, like they were like, "This was not good." And I ended up retconning that first session, doing it again but better next time. Yeah, sorry, I kind of
no.
took off with that.
That's what we're all about with this one. We're just going over.
Yeah, don't. I'll say it like this: your D&D module, if you choose to run a module, not just write something on your own, is not the Bible. I'll say in a way, like it's not gospel. Don't be afraid to go off book. The book is supposed to be a guideline, not like a hard, like, no, this is how you got to do it. Kind of thing.
Jack Sparrow with it.
Yeah, exactly.
I know it was one of the other characters that actually said the line. They're more guidelines than rules.
I don't remember. It's been such a long time.
I know. It's whatever the Barbosa, Captain. I think it was the main bad guy from the first one.
Oh, God, I don't know why I can't remember. I only can remember like the squid dude. It's been years since I've watched.
That's Davy Jones. That one was
Davy
easy
Jones.
to remember.
Davy Jones.
Yeah.
I mean, also like he looked crazy. It was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Check this guy
Yeah.
out.
Oh yeah. CG back then was pretty solid. You're just like, this.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was the I think Barbosa, the guy who in the first one was the main antagonist, and then spoilers for a 20-year-old movie.
Yeah.
He came back in a later one as a good guy or whatever, anti-hero.
Yeah. I will say actually, if you're looking for a module, if you're looking for a one shot in particular to run, but you don't want to make your own thing up, the level one module in Candlekeep Mysteries, I really stand behind that one. That one's actually super well written, and it took me 2 sessions to do it with the Bear Bard over here. He was involved. He unfortunately had to miss the second session.
Yeah.
But it's really tight, well written, and just kind of like a fun atmosphere. It's really good for all ages too. If you're looking to like run for kids or it can be run for kids, it can be run for adults. The tone is just really friendly in that first one.
Yeah, it was I can confirm as a player side it was a lot of fun. And that book has multiple, right? That book has a bunch of different.
It goes up to like level, I think it has like 17 one-off adventures that go all the way to level 16. So I think there's like 2 that are like for level like 15 or something like that. So there's a wide array. They're all varying in quality on if they're good or not, because it was also like 17 different writers. But I think it's like the Joys of Extra Dimensional Spaces is what the first one is called, is really well done. So if you can get your hands on that and you want to run just a level one shot, but you want like a guideline, it's a really, really good one to run.
Those you said Mysteries of Candlekeep.
Yeah, Mysteries of Candlekeep. Candlekeep Mysteries is what.
Yeah. No, that one. And then I actually just picked up. I haven't got it yet. They haven't shipped them out yet, but I'm really excited about
Strixhaven.
That one. Strixhaven actually looks really good.
Yeah.
But XP to level 3 and those guys, they all came out with one.
Yeah.
Oh, what is the name?
Not the Necro. No, it's like a
Questonomicon.
Questonomicon. There it is.
Yeah. I just ordered that one. It's funny because I said I wasn't after this one. Like I'm enjoying the Waterdeep, but I'm like I don't know if I really want to do more adventures. Although I do kind of want to run Curse of Strahd at some point.
Curse of Strahd. So I'll say
just so I can talk to you because everyone talks about it.
I don't want to dog on like Wizards right now, even though I've already said like 2 of their campaigns are not well written. Most of the stuff that comes out of Wizards as like new, I've learned, and this is from somebody who's only played a little Pathfinder, mostly 5th edition, and a little bit of like Merkborg. Like I've run like 2 games of Merkborg or whatever. Most of the stuff that comes from Wizards when it comes to actually adventures are not really that friendly for players to run. They're kind of there's a lot, and they're just not formatted in a nice way. But Curse of Strahd is really good. Everybody says Curse of Strahd is really good. I've played a whole campaign of Curse of Strahd. Loved it as a player. And my GM actually for that one, he was new, but he got a lot of improv experience. So I think that really helped him through it. It is just like a rewrite of like an old D&D adventure.
Yeah.
So you can't really give Wizards full credit on that one. Same with like a lot of the stuff that's in Tales of the Yawning Portal.
Yeah, those are all old.
Those are all old, but I actually like a lot of them, and I think I don't want to dog on Wizards, but their writing when they write new stuff is pretty lacking unless it's the first adventure of Candlekeep Mysteries, and it's really, really good. And the Essentials kit I hear is really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably just trying to find a tone to write for, because they're trying to go. It's Hasbro, right?
They're trying to go broad.
Yeah, they're trying to go super broad. I got to be super nice because maybe Wizards can sponsor us at some point.
No, I'll take a sponsor. I will.
Yeah, Wizards is the greatest company ever.
Greatest. Oh my god, I love. I mean, I also play Magic the Gathering sometimes. So I mean, like, if you want me to switch gears, send me some packs.
I would say we're right here. We're what, maybe an hour away from Wizards HQ.
Yeah,
and that's an hour.
I'll walk there if you have free stuff for me. I'll walk over there. I'll take a book and a hat. Or
say go check out Redmond. Yeah. I've actually. They're in an office building, in a corporate park, and I've actually been not in their building, but the adjacent building.
Okay,
I had to go there for I don't remember what it was. I had to go there for a thing back when I was younger, and I remember seeing Wizards of the Coast because I was a huge Pokemon fan, and they had
the Wizards like
it was Pokemon, isn't it?
I don't think they do, but I feel like different.
Maybe it was when I was in Yu-Gi-Oh! Phase.
Because Capcom or Konami does Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know. I got into Magic in like high school, and then I got out of it and like when I turned 20. But I could see them publishing it because they already had like printers and stuff, like a whole like network already to make that stuff. I'm pretty sure. I'd be surprised if Wizards had their hand in that because that'd be a lot of money.
See, when I was a kid, I knew about.
They could have been doing like a thing.
Okay, yeah, okay, yeah. See, this is why, because I'm old. Wizards of the Coast made Pokemon cards from 98 to 2003.
Okay, wild.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So I remember seeing Wizards of the Coast. It's like Pokemon, and so I actually went. They used to have a little store downstairs.
Yeah.
And so I actually went into their little Wizards store.
That's cool.
And I bought a booster pack. Just
yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember. I think I was there for like an event with my mom or something like that. But yeah, I knew Wizards did something Pokemon.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it looks like they did it from 98 to 2003, and then it switched to creatures doing their own thing.
Huh, interesting. I'm wondering. That's interesting. That's really cool.
Yep. See, that's where the old man thing comes in.
Yeah, I've never seen their office or anything like that.
It's the most boring,
I bet it. I mean, I saw
building.
the Nintendo building. I went to the Nintendo building because my Wii was having some issue. I don't remember what was wrong with it.
It was a Wii.
Yeah, I like my Wii. I was one of the people. I waited outside at like 6 a.m. Like 5:30 a.m. to midnight to get my hands on a Wii day one. And then so at one point that Wii had a problem. We had to bring it in. They gave us a refurbished one after checking it. But I remember it was like they had a cool little store in there, but the building on the outside, boring.
It's that white building, right?
It's just like a white generic like corporate building.
Yeah, at least that one even has like the Wizard is just the all glass.
Oh, okay.
Like they don't even have like a building color because it's just all glass. It's super Redmond. It's very Redmond.
Yeah.
And and it's in the middle of like 10 other just glass buildings.
Okay.
That's super generic. So actually I think Nintendo used to have one of those buildings as
probably.
Well. It wasn't their main site. It was but it's all Redmond. It's all down in the same area down there. Around Microsoft and all that. So but yeah, Wizards, if you're listening.
Dude, we will sponsor you. We will sponsor you so hard. And even D&D Beyond. Hey, we'll you got a cool tool there. I like your tool.
I say we're not pandering at all or nothing like that.
I'll say because like Wizards, I guess this is how I'll put it. Wizards, when they write an adventure, generally doesn't turn out great. At least it doesn't run easy for a play. I feel like as a GM, it doesn't just run easy. But I really do enjoy a lot of their like additional content, like when they add new races, or like even like settings books are good. Like the Eberron settings book is great. I wish you would make an adventure for the Eberron settings book.
Isn't there a small one in there? I thought
there's a small one in
like
there.
A half,
it's from level 1 to 2. Same with Ravnica. They have a level 1-2 adventure, and I think there's like a one you can like find online as well. But they don't. All their. This is another tangent rant. All of their modules take place in the Sword Coast or Faerun at least.
Yeah.
And they give you all these cool settings books and they give you maybe like a little like taste, but they never give you like a full on like, here's the Eberron adventure to run with your Eberron settings book. They might give you like this this story also works in Eberron if you want to do some work. But
Yeah. No, I know a lot of people were really upset that because when Fizzbins came out,
yeah.
they were really excited because they thought they were bringing back Dragonlance. People, because like I used to read some of those Dragonlance books when I was a kid.
Yeah.
No, not a kid, but I remember when I was little, in middle school, high school, I read some of the Dragonlance. I love those, and because they had a series of, because I think Forgotten Realms has them as well.
Yeah.
But I know that's a pretty common complaint that they're keeping all within Forgotten Realms as opposed to.
I feel like with Dragonlance they could be like hesitant because of just like the caliber of like the respect for the content, or just like, because was Dragonlance the one that Gary Gygax, the actual saying Gary Gygax made?
Well, that's my theory, is that because they're trying to separate themselves more from Gary Gygax and his sons and stuff like that. I think that's why. But yeah, I think it's still more. I don't know if they did it specifically because they left a while. Gary Gygax actually was out of the.
Wizards. I think D&D was sold off to Wizards in like 90 like
8 or 9 or something.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, it was actually Devi Chappie has a really good, quick. It's like 25-minute episode, but it's a really nice breakdown of like the history.
Yeah,
and he goes into a really good and yeah, I'm trying to remember. It was something like that. They've had it for a minute.
Yeah.
Before, because I don't think they used to be owned by Hasbro either. I think Hasbro didn't buy them till like
Wizards Hasbro bought Wizards like later.
Yeah. So it was just them for a while, and yeah, I think they tried to work with him a little bit, and then he got really difficult, and then they made what, TCR or whatever, and now they're going through that whole thing.
Well, TSR. There you go. TSR has been. I mean, that was always his company, but TSR like went bankrupt or went away or something. I don't know. I'm not looking it up.
Yeah, they didn't do anything. Yeah,
but they went away, and then relatively recently, 2 companies came up called TSR. One is owned or whatever by Gary Gygax's son, and the other one's somebody else. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I don't remember.
Yeah,
but they're having just like their own like weird thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know people aren't happy with Ernie Gygax, and then I think the other one is tied to that chick that was like running after Gary Gygax. She was running D&D, but then it's complicated. It's complicated.
But anyway, I don't think they touch Dragonlance because not maybe necessarily because of like Gygax's son, but because there could be a lot of pressure on like doing that book right.
Yeah.
And so I imagine they probably are just like, we'll leave it. And technically, if you wanted to run Dragonlance, you can go to an older edition of D&D and then modify it.
Do it yourself.
I'm sure for the most part, like all the creatures are really just already available. You would just use the old books for like the places. But
yeah, well, I know like that Fizzbins did bring back like gem dragons and stuff like that.
Gem dragons they're neat, kind of goofy, but I guess it's fair because they're like from like the Feywild usually or whatever I was reading. They don't seem like they don't chill on the material plane. I generally like Wizards, like I'll call it expansion content, settings books, and like weapons or not weapons, classes and races and all that. Not a fan of them kind of like boiling the races down into being like a just pick your stats kind of thing. I like the challenge of being like, I want to be an orc wizard, but I have to struggle with the fact that the gnome wizard will always be a better starter.
Yeah.
But
I agree. I can see both sides because you lose when you make it so everyone can be anything.
Yeah.
It's nice in the respect that like you can play what you want.
Yeah.
If you want to play an orc wizard, you can play an orc wizard and still be effective. But
be a goblin I don't know, barbarian.
Yeah. Well, I like the short races. So I like, I played the gnome barbarian.
Yeah.
I'm playing a kobold paladin in the game.
He wasn't a gnome. He was a
halfling.
He was a halfling who wanted to be a gnome, right?
No, he's a halfling that wanted to be a dwarf.
Was it? No, he was a gnome that wanted to be a dwarf.
I'm pretty sure halfling.
Because I think I would have had a weird interaction because my guy was he was a Svirfneblin. He was a deep gnome.
Yeah.
Because you had him paint his skin and his hair.
Yeah. He dyed his hair. He dyed his hair like Okay, yeah, yeah, right. It was deep gnome.
Yeah, because I was playing a halfling in that campaign, and I think he would have had like a way different interaction with you if you were a halfling trying to be a dwarf.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, I like doing the short races
Yeah.
to do, and I like them being so like the kobold is the kobold is better since because the original rules
Yeah.
that Wizards wrote for kobolds was
like,
garbage.
They gave him like a 2 to dex and like a -1 to like strength or something.
Yeah. See, yeah, them and orcs, I believe, were the only ones that had negative modifiers.
It was all the monstrous races in that one book, and then they got rid of the negatives. But I kind of wish they would have like added something else to like, you got rid of the negative. So, and here's also a thing to make them a little better.
Well, they still have a negative. They still technically have the light sensitivity, which I feel like when I run it, I just take that out because I think it's lame.
Yeah.
Especially, it's like, I kind of get it. Like if you live your whole life underground and come out, because it's
well, because even is drow?
Yeah, dark.
Even drow have some light sensitivity. Honestly, if I'm running a game, I'm probably gonna forget that one of my players has sunlight sensitivity. But yeah.
See, I just don't bother with it because figure most of the time, now sometimes they don't, but most of the time, if you have an adventurer that is a drow or deep gnome or something like that, they've been on the surface for a while.
Yeah.
Like because they still are that race or whatever is fine. But like, my kobold, he didn't grow up underground. You know, he grew up in a monastery and did this whole thing. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yeah. His eyes might have adjusted.
Well, it would have adjusted. He's lived his whole life over out of the ground, so he wouldn't still have light sensitivity. So it doesn't
he's learned how to squint.
Well, yeah, he just didn't need to do that. And even then, like, kobolds, they cause enough trouble out of the ground that you feel like they shouldn't have sunlight sensitivity.
Yeah.
So and then plus especially because it's only 2 races that have a negative for being that race.
Yeah.
And that feels kind of wrong because they don't have enough benefits to make it. If they had enough benefits that you had to do that trade-off, that'd be one thing. 3.5 had that a lot. 3.5 was very much like you have negatives, but you have these positives to balance it, usually balance it out.
Yeah, that's usually the thing too. If you're going to take a negative, like you really want like a good positive, something that's going to make you go, well, shoot, I'm kind of dumb, but I'm so beefy, I don't really care.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So so like I said, that one I do kind of see both sides. I personally think I like having it, but again, that's more just like I like being able to choose what I want.
Yeah.
But I also have like no problem. I know a lot of people have homebrewed their own rules to make it to give them more and less, and so I totally get that type of playing, and I actually wouldn't even mind doing that either.
Yeah.
So then that you said 3.5 was kind of like that, and but again, that's mainly because I just like playing short races and making them do big race things.
Yeah. Oh, and like 5th edition's really fair actually for short races doing big race things. Like even like they don't. I think they have some rules on like carrying stuff, but like other than and nobody does. I don't know anybody who keeps track of like weight unless like obviously you're like I'm gonna pick up the big statue and it's like all right no, but they're pretty fair to the small races because I like playing small races too.
Yeah.
My favorite character I think is still my cheese wizard. So
Phineas
3 Wigmore.
I feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see. I actually do keep that in mind, but not. I'm not like.
It was basically like I just didn't like that. Like it was basically you could choose all the stats because I do like just you're a halfling and halfling is lucky and lucky is really good.
Yeah.
But like you're a halfling, so like you might be just a bit agile or charismatic. I don't remember what their stats are anymore.
Yeah, they're hobbits. So they have the charisma. And I think they have 1 in dex.
I think they get 1 in dex, and then they get charisma or like constitution depending on like the sub race you choose or something like that.
Yeah. I think because there's 2 halflings in the ones that are even closer to the Shire hobbits. They're the ones that they have the better, if I recall, the better.
Yeah. I'm pretty, I think for my games, I'm pretty flexible on my players being able to basically, unless I guess I'm running a module where the setting is like Faerun. Most of my homebrew games, I'm like, you can play whatever race you want. If it's a really weird one, run it by me. You can do whatever class you want, unless it's like maybe I'll pick like 1 or 2 that I'm like these are. But like I can't remember me doing that. I think it was basically like you can do whatever race you want except like a Yuan Ti. I don't want you playing a Yuan Ti.
Yeah.
But like, you can do whatever you want. run it by me. I'll tell you if it's really like not fitting. I mean, I've let players play shifters in like my games, and I just describe them as basically like cursed people, like pseudo werewolves, because it's essentially what they are. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I'm just that's the one thing. It's like I'll let players do so much stuff, except I won't let them have these really custom stats if they want to. You know, they can be whatever race they want. Just that's one thing I'm like, no.
Yeah, and you have to make it make sense too. Like, you know, if you're in a setting that's very human heavy and you have a monstrous group, I want you to be able to do that. And I'm going to make it work. I'm not going to do the annoying, like, they all hate you. And
no, you don't do that.
But they're also going to all have to deal with challenges of being.
You
like,
have them be a little bit like, you give your players pushback, but you don't have them walk into town and then have somebody go, oh, ugly, scary, kill. I'm not going to serve you. Like,
shame.
You can be like, yeah, you notice that you got charged an extra like silver piece for your meal. Like, you're like, what's the, you know, I mean, personally, I don't want to make my players feel, unless they are really, really like, no, I'm doing the monster because I want to have this challenge. Like, I don't want to make my players feel like I'm picking on them.
Yeah, because that's the game I'm playing in now is he's doing a really good job with that, with me in particular, but even my whole party. So we're in a magic setting, and that's what I was trying to get the name of.
Okay, so we're getting the name of that. I'm gonna say my shifter player. Like, I always make it so people are like, they're uncomfortable around him. He's a very hairy man with big scary teeth. It's like, yeah. What would you like? All right, cool. Here you go. Is that it? You want to, you know, like they're just like, they're nervous generally because he's this strange anomaly kind of making their way around. But yeah, I don't know. You want to make sure your players, I guess it's another tangent. Yeah. D&D, make fair fun, I suppose. Like, or at least, you know, if you're going to make something hard for your player, clue them in before they start. Like, you know, you really want to play the Juan T in Waterdeep, you know, are you sure? Are you sure people are going to look at you and be like, yeah, no, it's fine. Like, no, they're going to look at you and be like, scary snake person. Like,
Well, yeah. And actually I had that exact thing. I had one guy that wanted to do, I think he was either I think it was a Wanty.
Yeah. Because Wanty are actually really strong, I think.
Yeah, I think that's like, he's.
If you were to make a tier list of like D&D races to play, I think Wanty usually rank near the top.
You can get pretty broken with them.
Yeah.
And so that's what I told him, like, because like, you know, Waterdeep is one of those, like, it has a lot of races, so you can get away with pretty much anything. But yeah, I'm like, Wanty, I'm like, you're gonna have to fight some. I mean, you could do it. I don't want you to not do it if you really want to.
Because as far as I'm aware, for at least Faerun, they're only like really exclusively a part of the Southern Islands or whatever, like way further south, like not Chult, wherever Tomb of Horrors or whatever takes place. Is kind of like, that's the only place where they're really at. So them being anywhere else is like, what are you?
what are you even doing here?
Yeah.
But so my DM, going back to what we were saying before with the setting, my DM's doing a really good job. So I am a kobold, and we're in Innistrad.
Yeah.
In Magic, so they've never seen a kobold before.
Yeah.
But they've seen a ton of demons, because that's the whole thing, setting angels and demons and stuff. So they've done a really good job. So my kobold's very kind.
Yeah.
He's chaotic good. So he's kind of like, he doesn't always understand like norms and like how, but he's extremely kind.
He's trying to be good.
Yeah.
He's trying to do whatever he can to, you know, do the right thing despite not really getting the people. Yeah.
And so we were in this town that's being attacked, and like, he saved this kid. He tried to save this kid.
Yeah.
I was so mad because like, I rolled really well. I did all this stuff to save him, and he still freaking died at the end. He got taken away by the wing, because the DM didn't expect me to actually try to do anything.
Yeah.
But so I tried to do that, and then I did all this work to try to save him. Didn't get to save him, but then I helped the mom out of the building. And she just starts freaking out. She's like, "Oh, demon!" And she's crying because she lost her kid.
Yeah.
And so she runs away from me, screaming "demon" and that kind of thing. So like, I'm like, well, that kind of sucked. But it made sense, because this town has been nothing but attacked for generations. And that's their whole life, is being attacked by demons. And a kobold to them could look like a demon.
Yeah.
And so, but then later on, her and her husband and the other kid that the husband had saved, in a different part of town.
Yeah.
They came up to me and apologized and thanked me for trying.
Mhm.
but it took him a second to warm up and see that I was like around town and doing things and helping. And so, so like I said, I feel like he's balancing
Yeah.
it really well, where like new people are afraid of me, but they're willing to, if I do things for
Yeah.
them, they're willing to get over that, but just not.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, back to, because this is obviously, this is a podcast where we're giving advice from a new GM's perspective, and we're not just going off on our own tangent here.
Well, going off on our own tangent.
Well, going off on our own tangent. In a D&D game, the GM's supposed to have fun, but the players are also supposed to have fun. Everyone's supposed to have a good time. So you just kind of want to make sure that's kind of going on. Like, yeah, occasionally, like there might be a game where somebody just didn't have fun, and you hope they'll talk to you about it. So yeah, your players, if they have a good time, they will, ask your players at the end, but they will tell you that was good. They'll tell you they had a good time, but they had a lot of fun. I think players might be a little more hesitant to tell you they had a bad time, but
Yeah.
But no, like if you ask for advice or like pointers or like criticism, I think it's a good idea to ask for criticism. If you don't get any, probably means you're doing a good job. It probably means you're doing a good job, especially if they've been stating like, that was a lot of fun, I had a good time. But then if you do get criticism, it's really good because it's just something to like adjust off of. I think, for
one caveat, just so people listening, we play mainly with people we know.
Yeah.
And so a lot of this, that goes to people that you know. Obviously, I know there's a lot of games going on like D&D Beyond, Roll20, that kind of thing. And so it's going to be, obviously, you have strangers you don't know. It's going to be easier for them to just start, you suck and that kind of thing. So it really, as a DM, you have to be able to take criticism.
Yeah.
I'd almost put that as like in your top 3 most important things.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you want to be able to do other stuff, but a lot of other things you can learn.
Yeah.
If you're not a great actor, you can learn that. If you're not great at voices, you could either get around that or learn it.
You don't need to. And I've seen people, talk about like you don't need to be good at voices. Like voices are fun. Voices are a lot of fun. I like doing voices at my table, but the more important thing is that you just get the tone across.
Yeah.
You don't have to do a voice. You can do like some inflection. But like really, it's like your players will get immersed if you're getting the tone across. Yeah.
And just talking about tone, I feel like it's more important to get the physicality of a character as opposed to, you don't have to get all these different accents, but like, if a big character is big, make him feel big, make him feel powerful. If he's, if it's kind of small and kind of, that's I think that's more important than being able to do a voice. But specifically with criticism, that's how you learn. That's how you get better. Constructive criticism, obviously. Someone's just like, you suck.
Someone says that, then don't listen to them.
Yeah, screw that. Yeah, that. But if someone's like I have business, I could play a whole campaign without a single combat. I could, and have fun doing it. So at one point I had like 3 or 4 sessions. Now, these sessions were shorter because people not showing up on time, so they're only like 2.5 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
So to be fair, it's not like these huge gaming sessions, but I had a couple, like these 3-4 sessions without any combat. One of my players, actually my brother, he's just like, a little bit of combat would be nice. And then now I'm always conscious of it. Like, I might have a session without combat, but I try to do something.
Yeah, I think a good rule of thumb is like you don't want your players to be going like back to. I mean, some players might like it. But you don't want every session to be back to back to back combat, especially in like certain systems. Combat can take a while. Like I've had plenty of games where it's like half the session or even most of the sessions combat because the combat's big or we're all just rotating. I think a good rule of thumb is like, for every like 2 sessions of combat, do at least 1 session of no combat, or vice versa. For every like 2 or 3 sessions of no combat, get a combat in there. Like give room. Essentially, you want to give room. You want to give things to breathe. If it's combat all the time, no one's breathing. If it's too much role playing for some people, then like their lungs are full and it kind of hurts, and they really want to use that cool ability they got because they got to level 6, and they're like, please, I just want to try my new thing.
Yeah.
You even gave me this cool axe last time we had combat, and I haven't gotten to use it. So you'll get, as a GM, you'll get that instinctive like feeling like when it's needed, especially with random encounters. Like I don't roll generally for like, oh, I got a 19. That means there's a random encounter coming. Like I'm just like, I might roll if I'm really unsure, but like I just go, this feels like a good time for a random encounter where I really like, I have this idea of like having, I don't know, gnolls come out to attack them on the road or something. But too much combat is not good. Too much role playing, depending on your players, is not good. So you want to like, if there's a couple sessions without one or the other,
Flip it.
Squeeze something in there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all about balance. Yeah, and that's kind of what I started doing. Before I started DMing, I had a lot of really bad experiences with I don't like random encounters. Like,
Random encounters
as a rule, like you said, the new DM I'm playing, I'm in his game. He does it pretty well, and so I don't mind him when he does it. But like before that, I had a lot of really bad experience. I just pretty much
it depends on how you use it. It's like if you're doing random encounters as is, so like your players are traveling, and every time they're traveling, you're rolling for random encounters. Like they're gonna eventually be like, oh, every time we leave town, we're fighting something. Sometimes you want to just give them like a peaceful trip, move them along to the next location. Also, random encounters are really kind of bad for pacing. If you're trying to get like a story across, maybe you can give random encounters a little bit of a break so you can get them to where you want them to be to do the next thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's kind of what because in Waterdeep, the whole thing takes place in Waterdeep. There's one quest where you can go down to the Undercliff area.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what I did. Is basically after I got that criticism, the next game I'm just like I wrote I wrote my own table of random encounters.
Yeah.
And so I rolled, but it was like I set up myself my own like 3 or 4 situations, and so it was going to be they had one just pure combat. It would have been a pure combat, one like a potential combat, and then the one that actually ended up happening, it was they got their stuff stolen.
Yeah.
And so it was a chase scene that could end in combat, but it was like I didn't really suggest it. But
is that the one where you did the
thing?
Yeah.
My guy, he goes, I'm sitting there like, okay, they're gonna capture them and then question them and try to get their money back. No, he goes and just slits the throat.
It's
like
really
right off the bat. I know.
I would have talked to him after that, but
yeah,
I don't know.
No, it worked out, but I had to come up with the whole like because there's a lot of guards there, and I rolled and there was a guard there. So they ended up having to pay for it and stuff like that. But that goes back to you don't know what your players are going to do. Because honestly, with my group, again, they're all guys I've known for at least the one I've known the least amount is still 14, 15 years.
Yeah.
So it's I've known all these guys for a long time. So I never in a million years would have thought that would be the. But there may have been some drinking involved before the game for some of them.
Depending on the player, when they drink, it can really cause things to go kind of haywire. Because there's some good examples of players subverting your expectations that are really fun. Like in my first ever one shot, one of the players there was a lot more experienced, but they went in to fight the bandits. The fighting actually was really bombastic. Like it was 3 level 1 players versus like a bandit. It was really stacked against them. A bandit captain, 2 goblins, actually 1 goblin because the other one was outside and they killed him. Because there's 2 guards outside. But anyway, there was bandit captain, a goblin, and like 5 normal bandits.
Yeah.
So there's big, huge combat happened. The combat ended with them sparing. So they killed all the bandits. They spared the bandit captain and the 1 goblin, getting them down to like an inch of their life essentially. And like I was really surprised by that. Like they brought the captain down to 1 HP. Somebody rolled a persuasion check essentially to say like, let's stop fighting. The players were also like an inch from death, like all of them were. But I think one of them was unconscious actually during this too.
Yeah.
But they had basically talked him down, and he got a good enough check because you want to also play your enemies intelligently. You're not going to fight to the death over some treasure like you're a captain. You're going to like eventually be like, this is kind of not a good idea. So he got a good roll. And so with all the wounds the captain had, I had him like basically pass out because he had 1 HP out of his like whatever, how much health they get. And they tied him up and they interrogated him. And then, they decided they're going to come back to this cave because there was this special dungeon there that had even better treasure in it. And they let the bandit captain go. They had a long talk with him and they sent him off to go basically like figure himself out instead of just like sending him to the guards. I was like really surprised and like it was great, especially after like some of the really brutal kills they got beforehand. But it was really neat. And I actually was going to bring that guy back to have him be running like an inn.
Yeah.
But that never got to happen. But then I guess on the opposite end, I had a player who was drinking when we were playing, and he in his favor, he's only like drank too much during session twice in like the year and a half we've been playing. So it's really good. We play once every 2 weeks for like 4 hours. He is a paladin with the oath of redemption, I think. Not redemption. I think it's
the base one, right?
It's the base one. It's the base one where you're basically the goodest paladin. I'll just say that.
Oh, why am I not? It's not
redemption, but
it's not conquest.
It's not, because redemption's like the really, really like this is the Xanathar's one. Anyway, he's playing a dwarf paladin who basically has one of the like the lawful good aligned oaths. Like, you're the goodest of paladins.
The goodest boy.
Yeah. He was drinking during the session, so during their essentially, like, they snuck into this villa run by the these are Baldur's Gate spoilers, the Van Thumper family, Van Thamper. They're fighting the guards off after they got caught. The combat was closing down. I described him as breaking one of the guards' legs because he did such a large amount of damage to the guy and got the guy to 1 health, or like 2, that I was like, yeah, you used your hammer and basically broke his leg. Like,
just shattered it.
Yeah. That's a fun thing to throw in occasionally. Your players, you can just describe that they do something extra to an enemy just for like effect, and also it kind of just changes the mood. Anyway, so the guards are getting ready to like retreat because they're like, all right, this is not worth it. We've lost too many men. One guard picks up the guy with the broken leg like under the shoulders to like drag him out of the room to safety. My drunk lawful good paladin runs up to the guy, grabs him by the legs because he's pissed that they're trying to run, and tries to yank him back. So it's like this horrifying image of just them playing tug of war with this man who has a broken leg. Mangled leg. And the wizard ended up like casting sleep on the paladin, which, put the situation to a halt. And, it was like, holy crap, dude. Next day, I come to find out he kind of blacked out during like the second half of combat. So he didn't remember it. And I had to tell him, and he was just like, oh, I'm sorry. Like,
devotion, by the way.
It was devotion. So he was oath of devotion.
The goodest boy, yeah.
Like, if he was sober, I probably would have like that. I mean, I implied that his oath was damaged, but since he was drunk, and this is also my first campaign, I'm
let it go. Yeah.
Let it go. But yeah, that was another subvert my expectations, I suppose.
Yeah.
But
yeah, see, I don't mind. So, we're all in our 30s, and so being able to handle.
Oh, your group is.
My group. We're all in our 30s, and they can handle. So I don't generally mind them substancing a bit because they can handle it. And again, with him, he didn't go deep in. He just did like that one thing that was like, no, why did you?
Yeah.
So it wasn't too bad. He didn't go like with that or like, just destroy everything. So it wasn't too bad, but it was just like, he just, But you said something in there, and I call it the rule of sometimes the kobold runs away.
Yeah.
And so, I just say it, the kobold runs away, but it's much more than that. Not every fight has to end in a death.
Yeah.
And not in the BioWare, the good guy just lets everyone go type of thing. Yeah. Kobolds.
Yeah.
They're greedy.
Yeah.
They're selfish. They don't want to die.
Yeah.
So when they start getting low life, make them run.
Yeah.
Make them, and if the players can chase them and try to kill them or not, but make them run. These enemies have motivations too, and I think that's something that gets forgotten a lot of times.
They aren't just kill machines. This isn't. You're not playing World of Warcraft where you run up, click on the guy, and you're like, he's gonna.
Yeah, exactly. They have their own whole set of motivations. They have families. They have, I like to mess with my players, and if they're just like brutal, in the intro, there's this little dungeon they go through, and they walked in, and there was a goblin guard, and they didn't even give him a shot, and he walks up. And one of my players, he's a bit of a min-maxer, not in an annoying way. He does it how you're supposed to. He just likes to have good combat. He one-shot he one-shot the hell out of this guy.
Same thing happened in my first session. Those 2 guards outside. One of my players, he was the same shifter player in another campaign. He was playing like the cat style one named Foam, and that was the favorite. He hid in a bush. So when the 2 guards, there was a halfling and a goblin. I had my own reason for saying out the 2 short races outside. The captain didn't like short races.
I was like, yeah.
They were basically like, what the hell are you guys doing here? And the players, like, with some charisma, were like, we're lost. Where's the nearest inn? And they're like, this is stupid. Get out of here. Like, they're basically angry and telling him to leave because they don't want to spur combat. They got a little closer, and because he was a shifter rogue, he dived out of the bush, got a crit sneak attack on like the first guy, just eviscerating him. And I let that count to be like a pre-combat thing because I'm learning. But I think it was fair to have him get like 1 free strike in before combat.
Yeah, it was a surprise. So yeah.
It was a surprise. And then like as soon as combat starts, he has the highest initiative and he just immediately does the same to the next guy and just like wipes them both out. It's just like, oh my God.
Yeah. But yeah, where I was going with that one was he comes in and he does the one shots this guy.
Yeah.
And they go search the body. And on the body, he's got
a picture of his family.
He did. It was a letter. It was a letter from the wife. He's like, hey, just want to write you a note in your lunch that, how much we love you. And me and your son just love you so much. And we'd love to see you tonight.
Yeah.
I wish you were home now. But, tomorrow on our anniversary, we're going to have a great day.
Oh my God. You just went hard on them.
And so, so they just they picked up this note after they didn't give much. They just, because I was going to have this guy, like, if they started combat with him, he was going to just like, kind of half-hearted attack, but then just he was going to bounce out. He's like,
same with these two guards. I had them actually muttering. They were frustrated because they know that the bandit leader doesn't like them because of their stature. Yeah. And so I was going to make that as an opportunity for the players to be like, hey, tell us what's in there. Here's a little bit of money or whatever. You guys go off, do whatever, and leave us to our business. But instead they lured them in and just like, Yeah, exactly. And that's where personal bias and your game style comes into play. Because I said for me, combat is fine. Combat's fine.
It's not I don't care for combat that much.
One thing, combat can be really fun, especially if you have time to be descriptive. Low level combat actually really, since there's so few abilities, warrants a lot of time to be descriptive. Depending on your player group, is kind of how you want to describe things.
Yeah.
I was describing things. I think this is something I kind of picked up from my the GM that I've been playing games with for a long time. My descriptions were like really brutal. Like I was going really brutal. And I was like, they were like, oh my God. I'm like, sorry, do you want me to tone it back? And they're like, no, like keep going. So I went like really hard. Like one of the players fought the other goblin, hit him with a mace. I described how he broke the goblin's nose.
Yeah.
And like the goblin ran away after that. But it was just like, I kept describing just like these just horrible sounds and like crunching and cracks and like blood and like one funny one where the goblin, when they talked to him later, the one that they broke the nose of, talked about he had like a whistle in his nose because he couldn't breathe right. But I kind of went on a tangent because that was just one thing I haven't done in a while is like these really be descriptive in combat if you can, because it can really make the scene. It can make combat more fun. Ask your players how they hit the enemy. Like people say, how'd you kill him? But like occasionally be like, if your players roll and they roll their damage, be like, how do you hit him?
Yeah.
And they'll describe how they do that. If they obviously say, like, I stab him in the throat, but it's not a killing blow, you say, oh, he moves out of the way a bit and you slice him in the neck a bit. But, like, have them describe how they hit sometimes, especially in low-level play, because it heightens things. And then you add to it.
Yeah.
They give you the prompt, essentially, of, like, ooh, I go for a sweep of the leg. And then you give them, like, the rest.
Yeah. Yeah, so I have my players describe how they hit.
Yeah.
And then I'll give them the result. But yeah, I'll because then that's what I had on my kobold I run up and I jump off this cart, and then so he had me roll an acrobatics, and
I do that to my players sometimes too.
Yeah,
play those by ear. I'll let you keep going on that story because I know.
No. Yeah, no. It's good because it gives people that chance to kind of get into it, and then and some people don't, and then you can kind of see like some people just don't like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So they'll be like, I use shillelagh and I do the thing. I'm like, okay, cool. That's what you like. That's your thing. Cool. We'll just kind of move past it, and I'll give you a nice little like, I hit him in the brambles, but it's like anything else. There's a balance. Like one problem that I have is since you're talking about timing.
Yeah.
Out of combat, I get too descriptive.
Yeah.
I tend to linger and spend a lot of time describing things that just don't matter.
Yeah.
And then I realize it's throwing off my players because they're thinking it's something important.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I have to focus on this. I'm like, no, I was just kind of giving you a good image.
Yeah. A little sneak peek into the into the video I'm currently working on. I'm scripting it out right now. As I've run the intro adventure to Morkborg twice now. Unlike 5th edition, there's a lot of things about the way they wrote the dungeon that I really like. But unlike 5th edition, the descriptions are very short and to the point. So as a GM, I take that and I just expand it a little bit, but it kind of keeps things flowing. The players get a total feel for the room and for what's in there. And we can just kind of get to them role playing.
Yeah.
Because it can be hard. Sometimes you want to really describe something, or sometimes you like a detail that's not really that important, and then your players are like, man, I really wanted them to go to the cool painting, but they ended up, fixated on the candelabra because I described it had like these nice engravings on it and was like an odd number of candles, or like had like 4 candles and like one was at the top instead of all of them on the sides. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's learning when to give that extra description to draw the eye.
You want to try to draw the eye, which it's a hard thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's why I just like that he walks in and he's a grizzly veteran.
Yeah.
He's a throwaway character. It doesn't matter, but I like to kind of set him up as that type of thing. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up.
We've been going for a while now. Yeah. So there was a lot of advice in here. But
yeah. So let's recap a little bit.
I wanted to, before we recap a little bit, can I hear the rest of because you talked about the love letter and your players, and I kind of jumped in on like because stuff. But I really actually want to hear like, so how'd your players deal with that after their hearts were probably broken?
I know, yeah, because I went real hard with that one, and then they're just like, oh, maybe we shouldn't. And then, but then they ended up doing a couple more. Then they went to the next fight, which is like a mini boss, and he charges them.
Yeah.
And then he gets to the other guard. So there's these 2 guards. I made him the brother.
Yeah.
Of the first guy.
Mm-hmm.
And they did the same, just because they were so hyped up from the last battle, they came in and did the same thing to him.
Yeah.
And just obliterated him. And so, because like they hit him once, and then he tried to run away, but then the second guy hit him, and just obliterated him. I'm just like, and so I left another. I left a little picture
of from his daughter drawn in crayon or something.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
My god!
It was a drawn picture with mommy, daddy, her, and then like a dog or something like that.
Yeah.
And so it was that drawn picture, and they just said, "I love you, daddy." And so
you got to add the extra line. It says like, "I wish you were home more often."
Exactly. I did that in the first one. In the letter, it said, "I wish you were home more." And so, but I know you're trying to do this so you can save money so we can leave town.
God.
So, So I went kind of hard with that one, and then. After those back-to-backs, they've been a little more hesitant, just because they're like, and every so often they'll bring it back up. They're like, "Oh, did we kill him and his family now too?"
Sometimes it did work. You want to set like a tone for a game or like an expectation. Sometimes players want to just get in and like, I want to get in. I want to get XP. Even though I don't use XP, but I want to get in. I want to level. I want to smash some faces. And sometimes you want to provide that for your players. You want to give them the face smashing opportunity. You throw the undead or skeletons or just some like weird no life carrying bandits at them.
Yeah.
But you also, for certain games, you want to set the expectation of like, no, you're fighting real people with real lives. You can go and murder, not murder because you're fighting yourself, you're defending yourself, you're doing a thing, but you can go brutally kill them all you want. But are you going to be happy about doing that?
Yeah. Yeah. In session 0, I set the expectation with my players. I'm like, look, if you want to go in and just fight everything, that's on you. But I'm like, I tend to reward creativity.
Yeah.
Because, like everyone go in and just start smashing people.
Reward creativity. If you're playing 5th edition, use inspiration. If you're playing Pathfinder, use hero points. My GM, I think, even made up like infamy points. So if your players are they're really creative, but they did like a bad thing, you can give them basically a hero point anyway.
Yeah. And there's a renown that you can pass out for.
Yeah. Give your players, if they're doing really good role play, remember to give them stuff like inspiration. Traditionally in 5th edition, inspiration is just like an advantage roll. I will provide that it can be an advantage roll, like a re-roll, or if they really want to, they can petition me for like a thing they want to do. And then I'll be like, sure, you can spend your inspiration to do this, extra normal thing to, so it makes your players feel really like rewarded when they try hard. And then, they reward them, they try hard more often, and it just kind of makes things more,
more fun. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the biggest thing, because when you reward creativity, it breeds more creativity to try and do that. So I like, and then I'm a huge proponent of giving out temp bonuses.
Yeah.
So, temporary bonus to charisma, temporary, or even just like, I had a turtle that had this hat that he was really proud of.
Mm-hmm.
He got +2 to charisma when he had this hat, because he's so he's like, I feel good in this hat. And it's not, it's not game breaking. He's a barbarian. He's not going
going around making deals, wheeling and dealing. He's like, I smash face, but occasionally put this hat on,
I feel
and
really
maybe
good.
I get a discount.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, yeah, and then like he went and made a custom suit,
yeah.
and the tailor was so proud of it, he had him come back in to model for a painting
Oh my God.
of that suit. You
So
know,
how does a turtle look in a suit?
fantastic.
Is it like a
So it covered his shell,
yeah.
but then they did an embroidery of a shell on the back of it. It was fantastic. He had a big fancy hat, and you know, he looked good. He had ruffles in different places, and so yeah, I think it was a like black and gold suit. He was pretty styling.
That's great.
But yeah, so I actually am going to wrap it up this time.
Yeah, now that we got that, because I wanted to hear how the sad family notes went.
Exactly. Yeah, it was a good way, and that's it's humanizing, not too much, you know, because that's the thing too. Like in media, everyone's like, oh, every bad guy's actually a good guy, and so you know sometimes you can have just a bad dude, but
I think it's more fun. Depends on what your players want. If your players want like beers and chips, give them the bad guy who's like, I am evil and I'm here to take over the world because I'm evil and I'm here to take over the world. But if your players are more into like, or you yourself really want to give them like a storyline, like, yeah, you can make the bad guy either somewhat redeemable or at least give them like a good motivation on why they flip.
Yeah, I think I was watching this thing. The key to a good bad guy is you can see you may not agree with his motivations, but you can understand.
Yeah.
And so yeah, you have to make it so, you know, that idea of the Joker, like one bad day type of thing where, you know, maybe you're not Joker, but like I get it. You know, I can see this progression to not with the Joker specifically, but you know, with different characters. But so let's go ahead and recap. Let's just recap some of these top points.
Number 1, if you're a new GM, do not run Baldur's Gate Descent to Avernus for your players as your first adventure. You will be unhappy. As written, but really even with rewrites, like it's gonna be a lot of work.
Yeah.
For your first campaign, I mean, it's exciting. You have a lot of fun. You're invested. You might not want to have to put that much work into something.
Yeah.
All right. First real point. Here you go.
Yeah. Be able to take criticism. That's to me one of the biggest things. Again, Wolf said, and then after every single, I say, okay, we're going to call it for today. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I appreciate it. If you guys have any comments, questions, concerns, you know, every time
exactly.
I do that. So
I do the same thing, especially if I feel like the session, like, you know, because sometimes you can obviously tell somebody's not having a great time.
Yeah.
I make sure to ask, especially on those sessions, so I can get some feedback. Sometimes they'll just say, no, sorry, I had a bad day, and that's why. Or sometimes they actually do have like a thing that's like on their nerves. Like in one game, I have that Baldur's Gate. Oh yeah, if you play Baldur's Gate Universe, don't have a wizard. It's they're not gonna have as much fun because all devils have magic resistance, and it makes being a wizard very hard.
Yeah, cool. So take criticism. Yeah, and then just maybe some smaller points. Don't stress. That's a big thing.
Don't stress.
Don't stress. You know, when you're prepping, do your prep. Do what you need to. But
you're there to have fun, and you'll do better if you're more loose.
Yeah. Don't worry about stuff like voices. You know, worry about more the physicality of a voice as opposed to. Well, yeah. Even if every voice you do is your normal voice, but you know, kind of make yourself big.
I talk like this now.
Yeah, kind of make yourself smaller.
Now,
you don't have to have an accent. You don't have to do. You know, you have to do all that that fancy stuff. You know, making sure your villain's relatable. You know, making sure it gives some humanity to,
or they're fun. Just
fun, yeah. Realize that your enemies are people.
Yeah,
or you know, creatures, but give them their own motivations.
Yeah.
Don't just make them blank killbots.
It's not a video game.
Yeah. Well, that's the great part is you know, you can expand. You can
D&D. You can do whatever your imagination set out to. If you want all of your bandits to have a wife or husband and a child, like sure, go for it. Or you know, flesh things out how you want that a game wouldn't let you do.
Exactly.
Which is a lot of fun. But yeah, I think interesting, or at least fun villain.
Yeah. And just again, have fun with it. Make sure you're having fun with it. You know, as far as rules and stuff go, really in that session 0, that's where you lay down how you play it. I like to go RP heavy. Other people like to go dungeon crawling.
My group goes RP heavy.
Yeah. You know, and so that's really what, you know, making sure you have that session 0, make sure you get into it, and then you really set the standard for how it is going forward. Because, you know, if you come in and everyone's just like, okay, let's go play D&D. And then like half the group is expecting hardcore crunch and they optimize. Then the other half is expecting one combat every month. And then everything's just all RP and stuff from there. You know, you're going to have a bad time. You know, set the expectations and then, you know, stick to those expectations. Don't tell them it's going to be RP heavy and then you start off in a dungeon crawl and everything's dying.
Exactly. Start with one-shots. If you're looking to get into GMing or DMing or however you like to call it, mastering, if you're going to get into Emming, start with one-shots. You can run some pre-made ones. Making your own is always great. So you just have like, you can work on that like creativity, but they're low stakes for your players because your players are making new characters just for that. Maybe they've used them in another one-shot you made, but there isn't this big overarching story that you need to worry about. You're worried about, did they stop the bandits? Did they find the treasure? Did they escape the building that they were locked in? You know, did they do the one thing? Not did they save the world? Did they stop the guy who was gonna destroy a whole town? Like, I mean, I guess you could do that one too.
Did this guy escape and come back later on and destroy? Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, and that's a great point. Start just and to piggyback off that, just start.
Yeah, just
do
start
something. You know, a lot of people will stress about like, oh, I have to get it just right, and that's why I didn't do it for a long time. But, yeah, I'm very much a I tend to be a perfectionist with all this stuff. So I'm just like, well, I only want to do it if I'm perfect, but. You're not going to be perfect. You're going to mess up. And even the top, I guarantee, Matt Mercer, some of those times, he's messing up. Brendan Lee Mulligan, he's messing up, but he's just able to roll with it.
You have to roll with it.
And he's, they've done this stuff for so long. And so that's really, really what it's about is it's okay to mess up. You're there to have fun.
Yeah.
It's not, it's not Critical Role. It's not Dimension 20. It's
your own home, kind of just fun. You don't have to, you're not making a production. You're not making a production. And for anybody who's an online GM out there, it's really hard not to want to make a production because you want to find the prettiest map pictures or use a tool to make the prettiest maps. Honestly, like, and I do that too. I find some maps, I do that. The pen tool can be great. You draw it as you're going, which also lets you change things on the fly to make things more interesting if you get a flash of inspiration.
Yeah.
But also Theater of the Mind is just, it can do wonders, especially for just like immersing the players. You can run D&D with like very just minimal things set up.
Yeah. Yeah. We're doing it online. We use Foundry, and I have some maps, but I have this blank page, and then I use a drawing tablet, a $30 drawing tablet, and I just draw out most of what I need to do. Again, I have maps of like Waterdeep and stuff like that, but I mean, and so you don't need it to be this huge crazy thing. Just make sure you have something and then and have that fun with it.
Exactly.
And then one last point, we didn't really cover it so much here, but I've covered it in a lot of videos. Make sure, like, before you do this, learn the structure of a story.
Mm-hmm.
You're not here just to tell a story, and that's a big thing. You're not. This isn't your novel. If you want to write a novel, write a novel. This is going to be, whatever story you write is going to be messed up by players. That's the one guarantee you have.
That's kind of the point. The point is that you're not writing a story. You're sharing a story with your players. You as the DM, the GM, the M, you're the world, and then they're the protagonists, more or less. I mean,
they're the driving factor.
They're the driving factor. That's better because, I mean, they might die. They're the driving factor, and so they're what makes the world go. You're the world, and they're what makes the world go.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but learn basic structures of and even, I hate to say game design because, again, people approach it like a game designer, like a video game designer, and things are different, but learn little things like make sure that you're rewarding you have to reward every so often. You can't just keep going. He talked about how it's just fetch quests over and over.
Yeah.
You need some rewards in there. You need to not just like a little bit of gold, but like give a payoff every so often.
I gave some cool items, but like, man, it's just like, hey, I'll do this thing for you if you get this item. Go to the guy to get the item. Hey, I'll give you that item if you get this item. Don't run Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus. It's
and basic story 101 is you have to give it, whether it's a movie, whether it's a show, whether it's a video game, give rewards every so often. Mini bosses. That's a payoff. That's a mini payoff. You did a dungeon and you get that payoff. So episodes of shows. There's high points and low points in movies. And so,
read books if you like to read. Even if you don't, it's probably just good for you to read anyway.
And now there's audiobooks.
There's audiobooks. Listen to books. I personally don't read, and I really should. But I mean, audiobooks are a good alternative.
Yeah, and there's so many YouTube channels and stuff just talking about story, story structure, and then take some creativity. There's a lot of creative exercises and stuff you can do, and so just kind of get there's things you can do to prep for D&D that isn't D&D itself.
Yeah.
I was a theater kid, so I did a lot of that stuff I had to do for theater. But I know a lot of other people who, they've taken little creative, between creative writing or just, creative exercises they do, take prompts,
Yeah.
kind of do something from that. So it's kind of just like a recap, a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm sure we missed a couple of things. We went over a lot. Hopefully, again, I'm a bit rambly, but again, we're really trying to cover a lot of different things. And the point of this podcast is just to kind of have fun and hear different experiences
Yeah.
and see. That's before I started doing it, I really tried to listen to a lot of stuff and. Because you can learn a lot from other people's experiences. And so it doesn't always have to be like a list format. You just hear like, oh, this is a situation they ran into. And then maybe you can be better prepared for it. Like, when like when my player slit somebody's throat and I wasn't expecting it. And then I had to make up a whole police scene. Like, you're like, oh, well, maybe, guards is something I have to worry about now. So, so I'm sure we missed some stuff here, but this has just kind of been our experience as newer DMs with D&D specifically. But I feel like a lot of these things are very universal.
Yeah, and I hope you didn't mind the tangents. We talk a lot in person, and we usually just go on these huge, long tangents. So I knew it was bound to happen. We couldn't stick purely to a topic. But hey, you learned that between the years 98 and 2001 or 2003, that Wizards was printing Pokemon cards. So you can keep that. That's for you.
Little nugget of knowledge for you guys to use on your friends. Yeah. But no, I want to thank you guys all for listening, especially if you got to this point for listening to this very first episode of Fireside Chat with the Bear Bard. Again, Wolfgang95, I really appreciate you. Being a part of this, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to do this again.
Yeah, you can find me on the Bear Bard Tales Discord channel, occasionally posting in the memes section.
Memes, and then also your YouTube.
I do have a YouTube channel. It is also Wolfgang95. I'm sure we can just put like a link in the description, or you'll find it. If you look it up, you'll find it. I have a cool 75 subscribers. Only one of them is my mom, and I have planned to put some D&D content out very soon. I've been meaning to do it for like over a year now, and I'm actually finally scripting and getting stuff together. So I should be putting some stuff out there.
Yeah, and it'll be good stuff. I'm sure you heard it through here, but I can attest strong TTRPG background, and then his wife is also an even
she's the one who got me into
D&D.
I met her through D&D actually, so
so that's even there's a lot of knowledge coming from that household.
We're
gonna have to get her on here at some point too.
For sure.
But so make sure you watch out for that. If you're looking for more Bear Bard, you can find me on all the different socials. I got Discord, subreddit, Twitter, and then obviously the YouTube. Also on Facebook.
Instagram?
No Instagram. I'm not going to do Instagram, but we do have a TikTok.
Ooh, they got a TikTok.
The TikTok doesn't have much yet, but it's going to have more going forward. You can catch me on all the different socials. Also, obviously, we have these podcasts coming out. So if you're listening to it on the YouTube, we are on all major podcasting platforms. If you're listening to it on the podcast, definitely check out the YouTube.
Yeah.
I'd really appreciate it. We have if you again with the socials, the Discord's really starting to grow. We're starting to get a really cool community. So I'd love to see more people joining that. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up for today. Again, Wolfgang, I appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, the first in many.
Fireside Chat.
Chat with Bear Bard.
That's a working title.
I keep wanting to say Bear Bard by the Fire or something to that effect, but yeah.
So it's a working title. So if you're listening and you're here on the YouTube or in Discord, go ahead and let me know if you have a better name for it.
Yeah.
We're gonna be a little bit loose here. I'm always one to admit that I'm wrong.
It's a part of growing. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah.
But that's gonna do it for us today. So for now, this has been the Bear Bard. Stay kind, stay beautiful, and keep on living that bard life.